Imagine a woman flying across the world in the 1930s, a time when flying was a daily risk, not a luxury. Imagine that this woman was a global icon of courage and ambition. And then suddenly she vanished into the sky, leaving behind no trace, no wreckage. Nothing. This isn't science fiction. This is a true story. The story of Amelia Earhart, the most famous female pilot of the 20th century, and the woman who disappeared into thin air. Amelia Mary Earhart was born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas. From a young age, she wasn't like other girls. She loved climbing trees, hunting rats, and playing with boys. When she saw her first airplane at a state fair, she wasn't impressed. But she had no idea that flying would become her destiny. In 1920, she took her first plane ride, just 10 minutes long, but it changed her life forever. As soon as we left the ground, she said, I knew I had to fly. She began flying lessons, and in 1921, she bought her first airplane and named it the Canary. In 1928, Amelia became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic, though only as a passenger, but that wasn't enough. In 1932, she flew solo across the Atlantic Ocean, the first woman to do so, earning global fame and admiration. She became a symbol of women's empowerment and pushed hard for female pilots to be taken seriously. Despite her achievements, Amelia had an even bigger dream: to become the first person, not just the first woman, to fly around the world near the equator. It was the most dangerous route ever attempted in aviation at the time. She prepared meticulously. Her aircraft was the Lockheed Electra 10E, one of the most advanced planes of the era, equipped with custom fuel tanks and navigation equipment. Her navigator was Fred Noonan, a seasoned expert in long-distance flight. On May 20, 1937, the journey began from Oakland, California. The flight took them across South America, Africa, India, Southeast Asia, Australia. Everything was going smoothly until the final stretch, the vast Pacific Ocean. On July 2, 1937, Amelia and Fred took off from Lae, Papua New Guinea, aiming to reach Howland Island, a tiny strip of land in the Pacific barely visible from the sky, with a runway and radio beacon. The distance, roughly 4,000 kilometers of open ocean. The USS Itasca, a U.S. Coast Guard ship, was stationed near the islands to guide her in, but something went wrong. Amelia sent several radio messages reporting difficulty receiving signals. Her last known transmission said, "We are flying at 1,000 feet. We are running north and south." Then, silence. She was never heard from again. The U.S. government launched an unprecedented search mission. Planes, ships, and experts were deployed across thousands of square kilometers. They searched for weeks. But no wreckage, no floating debris, no emergency signals, not even an oil slick. On July 19, 1937, after 17 days of searching, the mission was officially called off. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan were declared lost at sea, but that was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning of one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. Over the decades, countless theories emerged. 1. Crashed and sank. The official theory: she ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. But if so, why was there no trace, even with modern search technology? 2. Nikumaroro Island. Some researchers believe she landed on Nikumaroro, an uninhabited island over 600 kilometers from Howland. There, investigators found partial human bones women's shoes from the 1930s. Reports of strange radio signals right after her disappearance. Could she have survived for days or weeks on a deserted island? 3. Captured by the Japanese. Another theory claims she flew off course, landed on a Japanese-controlled island, and was taken prisoner. Some old photos supposedly show her in Japanese custody, but no evidence has ever been verified. 4. Lived under a new identity. The wildest theory suggests she survived and returned to the US under a fake identity to escape fame. But again, no real proof. Whatever the truth may be, Amelia Earhart became more than a pilot. She became a legend. She inspired generations of women and dreamers. Books were written, films were made. Her story is still taught in schools and studied by historians and pilots alike. In 1939, 2 years after she vanished, she was officially declared dead in absentia. But her legacy remains alive, and her disappearance continues to haunt the skies. More than 80 years later, the world still wonders, did Amelia Earhart crash and sink? Did she survive on a forgotten island? Was she the victim of a government cover-up? All we know for sure is that she flew into the sky and never came back.